Before we talk about the main fragrances, can we just talk about that background? That is a crazy background. He's just got like some niche, all his sussy Jean Paul Gaultier bottles there as well. And then just Spider-Man, my boy Peter Parker, just chilling there, just blending in with those other colognes, which is very interesting. Today we're reacting to a classic character on this channel, and that is my boy Finn from FBFragrances. If you guys don't know who Finn is, he actually used to be on our channel for several videos where he was sort of like a co-host, like a co-reviewer. He has his own channel called FBFragrances where he brings his youthful Australian energy into the fragrance game. He's one of the biggest reviewers right now, and I'm very proud of him. I actually met him in Dubai, which I was happy about. It was great to see you, Finn, at that event in Beauty World. And today we've got a video from Finn. It's very recent, less than 2 weeks ago, called I Own 150 Bottles of Cologne. Okay, big game. These are my 8 most used. So this is sort of like Finn's top 8 in his entire collection right now, or it's kind of like his 8 for life, something like that. I do have to admit that Finn is a bit of a sus character when he does reviews. He does some strange things in his videos, but that's what I like about him. He's different. He thinks outside the box. Maybe that's the influence we had on him when he was in this channel for quite a while in School of Scent. Without any further ado, let's watch the video together for the first time.
The best, easiest, and simplest way to tell what the best fragrances are in someone's collection is not by listening to their top 10 fragrances of all time videos. It's not by looking up what are the best fragrances for men. It's by simply using your eyes and looking at which fragrances in their collection have the biggest dents in them.
You know, that's actually very wise. I mean, like, Finn, you're like wise beyond your years, man. That's a really good point. I think, as people say, actions speak louder than words. Although for myself as a reviewer, nowadays I have like 1 or 2 spritzes or sprays of a fragrance and then I have to move on. I'm always testing stuff all the time, guys. This is the issue for myself right now. I feel like there's not enough time in the day to just be constantly testing stuff. So it might be difficult to find any dents in my bottles nowadays, but let me think of a fragrance where that would apply to me. Maybe I don't put it in my top 10 list, but actually has quite a big dent. Yeah, I would probably just say, after just picking this up now, it's probably this fragrance here, which is my light blue Eau Intense. You can see a big dent there. This is all caused by me. Some of my bottles I bought from Facebook swapping and selling groups, as you guys know, which had natural dents in them before from being secondhand bottles. But this, I believe, yeah, this was a brand new bottle I got. I got this bottle a while ago. I think I got this all the way back in 2018, 2019. Wow, this is a very old bottle actually. Wow, okay. So even though it's potentially 6-7 years old, it actually hasn't gone through a lot, all things considered. Which goes to show, guys, once you become a reviewer / collector, it's really hard to put proper dents into your bottles, especially if you're a sissy sprayer like me. This is an interesting exercise, guys. Let us know in the comments which fragrance bottles do you have that just prove that you've used them a lot and have a big dent, even though you were surprised by that large dent. You don't think you like that fragrance that much, but the evidence shows otherwise.
I can post video after video and tell you which fragrances I truly think are the best and which ones you should buy, but the reality is, if I'm telling you a fragrance is really, really good and I've used absolutely none of it, I could very well be lying to you.
Yeah, I think Finn does make a fair point. Let's go onto his list and see what are his top 8 most used.
The first fragrance on this list of fragrances that are so good, I've put a huge dent in them, is Xerjoff Naxos.
Before we talk about the main fragrances, can we just talk about that background? That is a crazy background. He's just got like some niche, all his sussy Jean Paul Gaultier bottles there as well. And then just Spider-Man, my boy Peter Parker, just chilling there, just blending in with those other colognes, which is very interesting.
Honey, tobacco, lavender with a big blast of vanilla. This fragrance is everything Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir should be. This is what honey and lavender and vanilla together should smell like. Such a beautiful blend. You can tell the ingredients Xerjoff have used in this fragrance are absolutely of the highest quality.
Yeah, Naxos is a classic in the community. A very classy, elegant fragrance with those notes that Finn highlighted. If you want to smell like absolute class, elegance, one of the smoothest yet fairly easy tobacco fragrance, it is a masterpiece. A 10 out of 10. One of the best for getting into the brand of Xerjoff, so you can see that Italian elegance that Xerjoff is all about. If you haven't tried it already, guys, you absolutely must. 37.9% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys really want to see our channel grow, go ahead and click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you.
Up next is a fragrance that honestly doesn't get enough love, and I need to start talking about it more because look at this dent, guys. This is crazy. Prada L'Homme EDT. I desperately need another bottle. There's literally maybe 3 sprays left in this bottle. Let's see.
Okay, I have to admit, that's a crazy dent because that's just a full use right there. He is spamming that sprayer with that Prada L'Homme. I don't like this fragrance that much.
That's it. It's gone. I need another bottle. I'm gonna go order one right now. I am back, and yes, I did place an order for another bottle of this stuff. I've been putting it off for far too long. The reason this pop fragrance doesn't get talked about that much anymore is I think it's just not really following what the trend of fragrances is. Right now, it's all about sweet and sexy vanilla fragrances.
Yeah, actually, Finn makes a really good point. I didn't actually appreciate that. I don't talk about that much because I just don't like it that much. I like Prada L'Homme Intense, which, as you said, is sweeter in fairness. But even Prada, I'm sure Finn probably would come to this point eventually, Prada themselves are following the modern trends of making really sweet vanillic fragrances. Just look at their Prada Luna Rosa Ocean line. Very sweet, ambery, vanillic, have nothing to do with being aquatic or oceanic. But yeah, I will agree with that. I don't like Prada L'Homme that much. It's quite a simplistic, soapy, powdery, iris-based fragrance. I think it's nicely done. I think it smells more feminine than a lot of guys will say, especially if you over-apply. It's one of those fragrances you don't want to over-apply because, again, I do think that iris can become a bit too feminine and a bit too intense. It's a nicely blended fragrance. Try it out for sure, but it's not my most favorite clean iris scent out there. That honor may go to either Dior Homme Original or, surprisingly, maybe Givenchy Gentleman Eau Boisée, which I think is cleaner than I expected. That's quite a nice overall fresh iris fragrance, I would say.
On to one of the best summer fragrances, spring and summer fragrances ever created, and top 3 from the brand for sure, and that is Parfums de Marly's Greenley. This has got to be at least my 4th bottle. Yes, I do sell a lot from samples, but yes, I wear this at least 2 to 3 times a week, especially right now in Australia, when it just seems to be getting hotter and hotter every single day.
Greenley, yeah, it's getting a lot of hype online. I even said to Sarita, who was the store boutique manager in our Parfum de Marly video, Greenley is very viral on TikTok. I think, Finn really blew up on TikTok initially. It's nice and popular with more young crowd, and I can see why. It's like a synthetic green apple, musky, fresh summertime fragrance. It kind of smells like a Head & Shoulders green apple shampoo is how I describe it. It's my least favorite out of the freshies in Parfum de Marly, I would say. Although it's long lasting, fair enough, I can see why it would be mass appealing. I will say if you want the most compliments from the fresh fragrances of PDM, go for Percival, and if you want maturity and masculinity, you go for Sedley.
While we are on the topic and subject of spring and summer bangers, I have got to include this, and that is Rasasi Hawas. But more specifically, the OG batches of Rasasi Hawas. This one was one of the first fragrances I ever bought, which was probably in around 2021 or 2022 at this point.
Interesting, because his bottle there looks a little bit blue, the juice. I'm not sure if that's one of the original batches. Here's my bottle of Hawas, which I got all the way back in 2018 once again as well. I think I was one of those reviewers who really hyped it up on TikTok, so I may have influenced Finn with that. But as you can see, guys, I'm not sure, it might be difficult to see on camera, but this is more of the original purple juice. I'm surprised by how much of a dent I made myself here as well, actually. And I think even with the different juice colors, it was still always a beastly fragrance. I get around 12 hours with this bottle here.
Time flies. I'll get the elephant out of the room, out of the way. Why is the fragrance blue? Well, there was one particular month in 2021, I believe it was June, where the Rasasi Hawas batches were the color blue, but usually they come in a purple or a gray. This one is legit though. It was confirmed. I emailed Rasasi and they said it's legit. It's just that 1 month of the year. So this is a rare batch.
Okay, so Finn did address that, fair enough. But basically, guys, yeah, Rasasi Hawas, beastly, bubblegum, aquatic, a little bit Middle Eastern with that plum and the cinnamon note in here. Very sexy, better than Invictus. It completely just blew Invictus out of the water, pun intended. I think, yeah, it's still a relevant fragrance. I just feel like it just has a certain magic to it. It's synthetic, it's not the most natural fragrance, but that's kind of the whole point of it. It's meant to be like a fun, casual scent, and it's beastly as well. So yeah, definitely still recommend it. And with the theme of the video, you can see there's a big dent in Finn's bottle and in my bottle as well, which kind of stands the test of time as to whether or not a fragrance is great.
In at the number 5 spot, and by the way, this list is not in order, but this one here, I've only had it for 3 weeks, and look how much I have used of it. Louis Vuitton's Imagination, a fragrance that if you told me, the smell of this 6 months ago, I would say, Like, it's okay, but it's just one of those ones that just grows on you every single time you wear it. And I think a big reason for that is that it's one of those fragrances that changes from opening to dry down. It is not a linear fragrance. It kind of has, you know, different times in the fragrance's longevity where you can smell more notes more than others. It's really interesting. It's something that's hard to explain unless you wear it for yourself.
Oh, that's quite interesting. You know, fair play to Finn, because I'm kind of like him. I still don't like Imagination that much, although I know it's probably the most hyped summer fragrance from LV. I personally like Immensity more. And Le Monde Cité, however you pronounce it, just hit me and grew on me straight away. It was more my style, a bit more masculine. Imagination has been more unisex. It's got this sort of like green tea and Broxin ginger bergamot combo, quite airy, natural, fresh. I do think clones like Zemaya and Mazaj infused kind of make it a little bit redundant, just because maybe I don't like the Imagination DNA that much, and I feel like LV fragrances in general anyways are overpriced. And there's also Ajmal Eau De Oud, which is a interesting twist on the DNA. It's sort of like they cloned it and then they added a lot of real oud in there, which makes the fragrance more versatile and much longer lasting. It lasts around 12 hours. A very interesting fragrance also. Not like a cheap clone price, but it's still more affordable than Imagination and still better value for money as well. But yes, I can see why there'd be a big dent in Finn's bottle, because it's one of those summer freshes you kind of just go crazy with the trigger and it's not going to be cloying, it's going to be refreshing. And LV, they still have some nice naturals in their fragrances as well. Maybe I need to try it again so I appreciate more of the dynamic dry down that Finn is referring to.
In at the number 6 spot, Replicas by the Fireplace.
Okay, I'm surprised this is featuring on the list, because this is quite a tricky fragrance to wear, especially in warm Australia. That's a big dent, and this fragrance, you don't really need that many sprays. It's quite beastly and cloying, in my opinion. But let's see what Finn says about it.
And it spilled some By the Fireplace on itself. Now, this fragrance, I feel like, does not get enough credit for just how unique it smells and the way it evokes memories. At least for me, it just reminds me of, you know, roasting marshmallows by the campfire, which was literally half of my childhood, and this fragrance just really brings back those strong memories, which I absolutely love. It's not super wearable, but I think because of the memories it brings back and how unique it is, that's the main reason why I've used so much.
Can we just focus on that comment by Finn? He said half of his childhood is him roasting marshmallows by a fireplace. That is a unique upbringing, young man. I don't know what they're doing over there in Australia, but hey, over here in the UK, we don't question what they do in that part of the world. Everything's like upside down there. So, you know, if the kids are just kicked outside into the forest and they're just like chilling with the venomous snakes and stuff like that, hey, more power to them. By the Fireplace, yeah, it is quite like a realistic, interesting concept. It's quite creative. I've got to give it to Maison Margiela. It doesn't smell too synthetic like a lot of the other fragrances do. It's smoky, ambery, chestnuts. It's got that sweet marshmallow feeling to it as well. A little bit candied, beastly. There are some fragrances that kind of do stand up to it. It's sort of like if you get the Stronger With You line in general, you'll kind of get a similar vibe to By the Fireplace. Lattafa have Ameer Oudh Intense, which is a solid clone, which has a slight twist on the DNA. And unfortunately, a lot of people are saying that the new Francis Kurkdjian creation in the private line for Dior called Bois Talisman has a lot of similarities to it as well, so just so you guys are aware. Overall, I will say By the Fireplace is a cool creative fragrance that most people should check out, but it may not be the most practical for you, but you may love it like Finn does. He loves Stronger With You intensely, I know that, so I'm not surprised he loves this fragrance also. But for me, number one in the brand is still going to be Jazz Club. More easily wearable in my opinion.
Up next, we have my baby. One of the first fragrances I ever bought, and one that is always going to be in my collection and have a special place in my heart. It is none other than Montblanc's Legend Spirit. The annoying thing about this bottle is I can't really show you guys how much of it I've used, and when I shake it, you can hear there's a lot left in it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a little bit sus how he's saying this is his most used and showing off the dents in his bottles for a completely opaque, non-see-through bottle. But okay, let's carry on and see what Finn is saying here.
But the plot twist to that is, this has got to be at least my 5th bottle of this fragrance. And if you've been following me around for a while, you would know that I'm not lying. I wear this thing minimum 5 times a week. It is the most used fragrance on this entire list. And the reason for that is because I have an addiction to the gym. And this fragrance works amazingly well for the gym.
Yeah, I can see why Finn would wear this fragrance often. He is jacked, and as you said, this is just a perfect casual fragrance in hot Australia, upside down Australia. they would have this citrusy brightness from this fragrance. It's a little bit bubblegummy, smooth, musky. It is like Invictus Aqua 2016, but much smoother in my opinion. It's a really good replication actually, and you don't really need to get that Invictus Aqua DNA from the 2016 or 2024 bottle in my opinion. Montblanc Legend Spirit you can often find at really good prices at discounters if you wait long enough. And I always used to downplay how long lasting this fragrance is. I think people go nose blind to it, including myself. The more I wore it, the more I appreciate it. Actually, it lasts over 6 hours. It has a beautiful ease of wearability with this fragrance. It's youthful, but I think any age group can rock it. It is like dumb reach fragrance if you want something that's warm weather appropriate, bright, just really easy to wear, mass appealing. So in one of our most viral videos, that Hawas versus Invictus Aqua versus Montblanc Legend Spirit video, this did not win that battle, but I will say it probably will take second place. Rasasi Hawas, yes, I'll probably still have to give it the win even to this day, but Legend Spirit is very good, especially if you can find it at a good price.
If you haven't already guessed what the last fragrance on this list is going to be, I'm just disappointed in you, and you have to watch more of my videos. Strong with you, freaking intensely, man. Christmas in a bottle.
Oh, fair enough. I was almost caught out by Finn, but I already mentioned it, young man. One step ahead of you.
Christmas has just passed. However, I did wear this on Christmas Eve and Boxing Day. I should have worn it on the actual Christmas Day, but I wanted to mix it up. Next year, this will be the one I wear for Christmas Day because the smell is too addictive. It's too likable. If you guys check out my TikTok right now, you will see a video of me and my grandma doing fragrance yes or no, where she smells the tester strip with the fragrance I sprayed on it. And if she likes it, she is yes. If she doesn't like it, she says no. For all the fragrances, she went yes or no. I give her Strong With You Intensely. Guess what? She smells it. I love it. That's what she said.
Well, there we go then. Grandma approved. I appreciate that. That's cool. That's a very nice video idea, Finn. I think Stronger With You Intensely, I can see why it gets a lot of hype, especially in the younger crowd. In TikTok, it's a very sweet ambery chestnut, that DNA of Stronger With You, but they add this toffee note in here. It makes it a bit more like candied caramel, like a very sweet, intense, all-in sort of DNA of Stronger With You. So if you like the intense sweetness of Le Mal Elixir or Ultra Mal, those kind of fragrances that go all in their sweet aspect, you'll enjoy Stronger With You intensely. It's beautiful, it's elegant, it's mass appealing. It can work for pretty much all age groups as well. So yes, young man, I can see why you love this fragrance so much.
That is going to wrap it up on the 8 most used fragrances in my huge fragrance collection. These are pretty much the best of the best.
Very enjoyable video, great choices by Finn. Even though you call me 40 years old at one point, young man,
you can still relate and enjoy his content despite him being probably in his 40s.
I forgive you. I think your channel is doing some great stuff. I love the Spider-Man chilling in the back, and I think your production value just keeps getting better. I wish you all the best, bro. And yeah, I hope to continue to see your increased roaring success, which you seem to be doing, bro. So keep it up. What are your thoughts on today's list by Finn, guys? Do you like any of the fragrances mentioned? Do you dislike any of them? What are some fragrances in your collection that you've left a massive dent in their bottle? If you guys haven't checked out Finn, you definitely should. He's a great reviewer, very laid back, cool, casual style. As always, because we usually do a lot of cuts in these reaction videos, we leave the original video in the video description down below, as well as a mention to the original channel. So go ahead, guys, check out Finn and go subscribe to him if you are considering to do so. Thank you so much for checking out this video, guys. If you haven't already, check out our previous reaction video to Paragon fragrances up here. I'll see you there.